What's going on, everybody? Fearless Beats here, and today we're going to take a look at how you can mix your vocals into a beat like a pro. Now let's jump right into this tutorial. Alright, so before we get started, let's take a listen to what I have and what you can expect to achieve if you follow this tutorial. Now, just for the record, I am not a rapper. I freestyled this, so it's pretty bad, so don't hold that against me, alright? But let's take a listen really quick.
Poppin', motherfucking droppin'. I don't really give a fuck, I do this shit often. I'm on the top of the world, these bitches wanna coffin. Every time I slap them with the dick, they be just coughing. Damn, what the fuck you doing? I'm getting every day. These motherfuckers slapping, I slap it everywhere.
Alright, so let's take a look at how I mixed this in and made it sound so good and stand above the beat. Because that's the hardest thing when you're mixing vocals, is to get it to stand out amongst the beat and not drowned into it. So we're just going to take a quick look at my chain here. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to take a look at it one by one. The first thing I have going on here is a gate. And I just recorded this in my room. My room is not soundproof in any way at all. In fact, the sound is really bad in here, so I need to use a gate. So if you don't have a perfect studio setup, you're going to want to put a gate on here. Copy these settings. This is just going to allow for the background noise to not get into the recording. That's all the gate does. It just cuts out any of that background noise, anything that's super low. Someone's opening a bag of chips. Someone's doing whatever. Alright guys, and before we go any further, I have to give a shout out to Kenny Beatz. He shared his vocal template, which is pretty much exactly what I'm using here. He basically gave us all the sauce for free, so that is basically what I am showing you guys. Okay, so we got our gate. The next thing I have on here is a channel strip, and you can just use an EQ, a regular EQ, if you don't have this. So basically what we're doing here is, you can see at each one of these levels, it signifies a part of that. So the low frequency here is going to be the very lows. The low mids is going to be the mid lows, and so forth. So what I'm doing here is I'm just adjusting these settings a little bit to make it sound good with my voice. Now, you can look at these settings here and see what I'm doing. Basically what you're looking at right here. So for the high frequencies, this is the kilohertz. So right about 6,000 kilohertz is where I'm raising it 3 decibels. So you can look at each of these and you can see what I'm doing now that you understand what it's doing. So basically, this is just the precautionary EQ that we have sticking on there. And this SSL E channel here is what a lot of the major professionals are using, so I would recommend you grab that if you don't have it already. Waves has crazy deals all the time. You can probably get this bad boy for 30 bucks. Alright, the next thing that we have on our strip here is another EQ. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm cutting out the lows, okay? At about 71 hertz right here is where we're really making the cut. And we're not cutting them completely out. We're just really taking out a large chunk of it, really just bringing down the volume a lot. And then I'm raising the highs a little bit as well, so we have more highs in my voice, okay? So that's what we're doing with our EQ. The next thing, which is super, super important, is a de-esser. You're going to need a de-esser. A de-esser is going to take out any of those S sounds, P sounds, and T sounds that make the popping noises and the little clicks when you say P, P, S. Any of those little things right there are going to make it sound really harsh to your ears. So a little de-esser is going to help alleviate any of that. And you also want to make sure that you have a pop filter. A pop filter is also going to add a little extra bit of that for you so that it's not coming through as strong. Okay? And once again, I'm using a lot of Waves plugins here, and they're always on sale, so you can get these fairly cheap. The next thing we're using here is I'm using a CLA 2A compressor, and I basically am throwing a little bit of extra gain on there. So I think it starts off at about 20 or 30, and we're just pumping it up a little bit so that it squishes the vocals. So if I'm saying hey, and if I'm saying hey, it's going to be closer together when you're yelling and when you're not yelling, so that it's not such a wide gap in range. We want them to be closer together, so that's why I'm using the compressor. All I did was raise it a little bit here. Make sure the analog is off. If you're using Waves, the analog is always bad. You don't want to use that. All right, let's look at the next thing. The last thing that I'm using, and this should always be the last thing you use. So I usually have this turned off. and I will turn it on when I'm done with the vocals, because this will interfere with the rapper while they're rapping. So if somebody's rapping on it and you have the CLA vocals on it, it's gonna offset it and it's gonna make it sound weird to them and it's gonna throw them off. So that's why I always leave this off in my template and then I turn it off when it's done. So what I'm doing in the CLA vocals here, you can copy all these settings for yourself if you want to use them. But basically what we're doing is we're using a little bit of the bass here. We're taking a little bit of the low bass out. All right, we're not using this treble section at all. We're doing a little bit of compression using the spank compressor. We're not using any of the reverb or delay from this. And we're also taking a little bit of the pitch and we're putting it on wide mode here. And I put this down quite a bit. So for the settings here, I got -5 on the pitch, 2 for the compression, and -1 on the lows. And guys, that's pretty much all you need to get your vocals to stand out. The only thing that would take this further is if you have a mixing engineer and they're gonna get this perfect. Your job is just to get these vocals as nice as you can, and this is pretty much all you're going to be able to do until you start getting into that engineering world and start diving deep into it. Okay guys, so this is what I'm using on the finished track. So after the verse is finished, I use all of those plugins right there. But when I'm actually recording, this is what I use. The same exact settings, I just use the gate, the EQ again, the compressor, and the de-esser. Okay? That way we don't have the extra effects on there and it's not messing with them in their ears. They're not hearing something that sounds off to them or that's delaying or any of that craziness. So basically this is what you use when you're recording them so that they can hear what they sound like and it sounds good to them. And then when they're done, you throw it into that main channel, what we just talked about, and then you can add all those extra effects, turn on your CLA vocals, or whatever you have it. So really quick, let's just take a listen to this chain before I add any of these effects, and then we'll listen to it after. So I'm gonna turn this whole thing off. It's gonna sound like garbage. Let's listen to it.
Poppin', motherfucking droppin'. I don't really give a fuck, I do this shit often. I'm on the top of the world, these bitches when they're coughing. Every time I slap them with the dick, they be just coughing. Damn, what the.
So that sounds decent, but once we turn the chain back on, it's like night and day. So I'll turn it on as it's going.
Poppin', motherfucking droppin'. I don't really give a fuck, I do this shit often. I'm on the top of the world, these bitches when they're coughing. Every time I slap them with the dick, they be just coughing. Damn, what the fuck you doing? I'm getting every day. These motherfuckers slapping, I slap it every way. I hit it from the back and I'm slapping the diggity doggy style.
Alright, so you can see that chain does some heavy lifting for us. Now, one other thing I want to talk about really quick is all these crazy things I have going on down here. Basically, what these are different sends that I can use. You can see that I'm using these different sends and I have them at different levels here. And what they're doing is they're all contributing to one of these different things here. So this basically sets it up so it's easy for me to add different effects onto it. So for this one, I have a short reverb. This one, I have a longer reverb. This one's a 4th delay, an 8th delay, 16th, and a little bit of different effects. You got a doubler and all different kinds of things like that. So if the artist wants to sound like Travis Scott, all I would have to do here is turn up the spot where the long delay is on, or the long reverb is on, turn it up a little bit more and it would sound more drowned out. This makes it really easy because you just control everything from these side parts right here, and it sends it to the sends. So this is something that you can set up in your template as well. Alright guys, so that concludes this tutorial on how to mix your vocals into your beat and let them sit on top so that the artist can shine over your awesome beat. Now, I hope you guys found that useful. Give me a subscribe if you haven't already. We're dropping awesome tutorials like this twice a week, so you can look forward to those every single week. Like this video if you liked it. Leave a comment if you have any other questions. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And guys, have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys again next time. Peace out.